What's up guys, Nor here and welcome to Book of Showtime Chapter 23. As always, if you enjoyed these videos, be sure to like and share them with your friends, and if you have a topic you'd like for me to cover for Book of Showtime, be sure to leave it in the comment section down below or anywhere you can reach me on social media or the Book of Showtime Discord. So guys, back in Chapter 17, I ranked all the Resident Evils. I did a Resident Evil tier list and I had a lot of fun doing that, so I decided why not do it again for another favorite series of mine, the Call of Duty franchise, which comes out every year. It's had its ups and downs, but it's something that I feel like no matter what, every year, something that I talk about when I gauge games is the value you get for the money you spend. And so far, Call of Duty has consistently been a game that when I buy it, I get basically everything that I invest into the game back in terms of the content that it gives me, the quality of content, you know, and it's trustworthy content as well. I know I'm getting a pretty good first-person shooter every year. So while I've played Call of Duties in the past, my first Call of Duty, technically like the first one that I kind of got into, was Modern Warfare 2. I got it the day after Christmas because I got Xbox 360 for Christmas in that year in 2009. It was the Holiday Elite bundle that came with Lego Batman and Pure. Pure was garbage and Lego Batman was, well, it's a Lego game, and I felt like I was too old for Legos, which is funny because I kind of would love to play some Lego games right now. But I digress. My cousin, he had come over. He had brought me some weird anime fighting game for the Wii that I didn't ask for, which, you know, I'm not sounding ungrateful, but, you know, it was just such an obscure game to get somebody. But then he saw I had an Xbox and he said, would you rather I get you a 360 game? So when he called me from the game store the next day, you know, he went to exchange the game. He originally was going to get me Halo 3 ODST, but then, you know, I'd seen so many Modern Warfare 2 commercials. It was the Till I Collapse Eminem commercial that was really good. Call of Duty's had some great trailers. They've had some really great trailers. I think a lot of their trailers are really good. But I've seen that 2 million times, which they spent like $150 million on the marketing budget for that game, which for comparison, they only spent $50 million on the actual game. That's an insane amount of money, but they made billions of dollars on it. So, you know, it's money well spent. But no, he brought me Modern Warfare 2, and man, I was blown away. I was what, man? So that was back in 2009. I don't even know how old I was, but I was in middle school. I was a 7th grader, and man, that game totally blew my mind. I beat it the first day I had it, you know, which was like a rare thing for me to beat a game in one day. But that's why I like about the Call of Duty games. They're never really more than 8 hours or so, you know. So it's a nice game. It's not too long. You can play it, you can enjoy it, and you get out. And man, that game was awesome though. And from there, I've gone back and played the previous 2 CODs. I've gotten Call of Duty day one every year. The lone exception to this was Advanced Warfare. I had to wait till Christmas that year, but every other Call of Duty I've gotten at launch. I love Call of Duty. I love it a ton, you know. So today we're going to tier all the Call of Duties. We have S through NA. So I'm going to go right now, and I'll do all of them in order, but I'm going to go right now and just put these older Call of Duties in the NA because I really haven't played them. I remember playing Big Red one, and I think it was Finest Hour. I've done Finest Hour, and but I never beat those when I was a kid, so I wasn't really good at them. I might go back one day and play them, who knows. But other than that, I've played all of these 2 or 3 times over in some cases, so let's just get right into it. Let's start with Call of Duty 4. I wasn't there at ground zero for COD 4, but I do respect its legend. You know, it was a very popular game. I remember playing it with my my friend at his house. You know, most people who had 360 PS3s, they had Call of Duty, and it was a fun game, dude. And when I went back and when I was playing through it, and when I played through the remaster as well, a lot of missions within like the canon of Call of Duty and within like the realm of Call of Duty, there's some iconic campaign missions. So that campaign is one of the best to me. The multiplayer obviously was really fun. I like the maps, I think, a lot better in Modern Warfare 1 than I did 2 and 3, which is funny because I like that multiplayer probably the least because obviously of all the improvements they made in 2 and 3. But I still think it was a really great game. I wasn't there at ground zero, so I really don't have the feel of it, but you know, it's a really good game, so I'm going to put it in A. Call of Duty World at War. I remember played this at my friend's house for the first time. It had co-op campaign up to 4 players. That was awesome. And it was a very gritty, you know, haunting retelling of World War II, which it was good because that's when you really showcase the brutality of that war. Or for all war, really, it's really graphic when you watch like war movies, but I feel like World at War did a really good job as far as the game goes of like showing off that war, and all the stuff was cool. Now, it has not aged well. If you look at all the other Call of Duties, this one's probably aged the worst It's really jank, but the multiplayer was extremely fun. The campaign was great. It's great to replay it with friends because of the co-op. And then the zombies mode. Oh man, don't get me started on zombies mode, which if you see at the top, that's going to probably more or less be the next chapter where I tier all the Call of Duty zombie maps. That's going to be an undertaking, so stay tuned for that. But I'm going to throw Call of Duty World at War right in the A tier. Modern Warfare 2, I got to put in yes. I'm just going to... I love the campaign. I still, to this day, if I loaded it up right now and played through it, there will be goosebumps on my arms during the EMP scene in the 3rd act. That game, it's just so good. And the multiplayer, man, I played so much multiplayer with my friends in middle school doing quickscope matches, Michael Myers, 3v3 search, you know, on high rise, on terminal, knife only matches. I'm still undefeated in knife only matches on terminal for some reason. That's just a weird stat that exists in my life, but nobody can take that from me because I'm not gonna probably go back and defend that. I'm too out of practice. But multiplayer campaign, world class, and then special ops was awesome. It's almost like there was like a second or I guess each mode felt so fulfilling, so it almost felt like the special ops added like a whole nother game to it because of the depth it had. Great co-op mode, you know. I remember played that with everybody. I played that with my cousins, my brothers, my friends from middle school, excuse me, you know. So just the Call of Duty has a special place in my heart, you know. And yeah, it's up there, S tier. Black Ops, gotta put it in S tier. One thing about Treyarch, they push the bar so much on Call of Duties. Like every year, you know Treyarch is going to do something that strays from the norm. And Black Ops, the campaign, they had cutscenes and your character spoke, you know, which was really important because in the previous few games, your characters didn't speak in game. You know, it was really, they might speak in voiceovers, you know, before the mission, but as far as actually talking, no. And the story was deep. It had a great twist, you know, and all the set pieces were awesome. Multiplayer, all the stuff you can do in multiplayer, the party modes, the wager matches, creating your emblem, customizing your character, the COD point system, all the great maps, awesome. And then zombies was such an improvement over the predecessor. And to me, I think as far as like how the engine feels, it's Black Ops Zombies is probably one of the best. If I had to rank, I forgot where I ranked it in my video. I did the ranking all the zombie maps or zombie modes, excuse me. But no, it's probably one of the best. But that's a fantastic game, man. I loved it. Also, I think it's the first game I ever got day one, like ever in my life. I never really went and got games day one, but that was a game that I went and got day one. Modern Warfare 3. Out of the golden era of COD between COD 4 and Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 3 to me is easily the weakest. I feel like in terms of content, it was really good though. It had it had the best special ops. Campaign was pretty weak compared to COD 4 and Modern Warfare 2, and then the multiplayer was it was probably, you could argue it's the best. I mean, I think like all the multiplayers are really good in their own way, but I think Modern Warfare 3 probably clears the other two Modern Warfare games. Doesn't clear Black Ops or Black Ops 2, but it does clear all the games that came before, as it should. So, but I don't think the campaign was as good, and I think I don't know, I feel like these games, they just, something was better about those games, like the aura. I don't know, Modern Warfare 3 was good, but it's like I don't find myself going back and playing Modern Warfare 3 as much. It was good to play through, but you know, I don't know, just didn't do it for me. But so I'm gonna put it in the B. That might be a hot take, but hey, it's my list. Black Ops 2, anybody who's a Call of Duty fan knows where this is going. S tier. Still, to me, to this day, pound for pound, the best Call of Duty. Tremendous campaign. And the fact that the Strike Force missions and the choice-based narrative still makes it a unique campaign. Like when you go back and play the other campaigns, you're playing the same thing. This, you can do some choices to change things. It had the challenges. It had to create a class. It had perks. It was awesome. The zombies was insane. It was a little too over-ambitious, I feel like, because I feel like for some of the casual players, it was a little difficult, and you really had to kind of know a lot about it. There was not really any simple maps. But that's neither here nor there. It was still a tremendous mode. All the maps were great. Origins is one of my all-time faves. Multiplayer, I don't think there's anything more to say about multiplayer that I can add that hasn't been said. The Pick 10 system was awesome. All the maps, the camos, the grind, everything about multiplayer in that game was perfect. I seriously cannot, as I sit right here, I seriously cannot think of any flaws in the multiplayer. Maybe that it's being hacked to heck right now. It's unplayable, but there's not. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. You know, people are always going to be out there trying to mess with games. I see presentation mode. Is there a dark mode here? Oh no. Okay. Oh, that's very nice. That's good. That's a lot better. It shuffled all these games around. I put them in order, but it reset it back to normal, or to however it was before. But that's, again, nothing you can do about that. So now what was next? We were on Black Ops 2, and okay, everything's still here. What was after Black Ops 2? Okay, Call of Duty Ghosts. Okay, everything's out of order now. Call of Duty Ghosts, to me, had the unfair task of following up Black Ops 2. But Call of Duty Ghosts, the problem is when you're comparing greatness to it's you know, it's what's it, apples and oranges, people say. I think Call of Duty Ghosts, Infinity Ward, they kind of, you know, they did something different. They did a lot of things different with this Call of Duty. They wanted to make it a more gunplay focused Call of Duty. The perk system, the pick 10 system, or well, I think it was pick 13 in that game. I'm just 100% sure. Maybe I should have done my research before I do a video like this. But I feel like they did a lot of things that we took for granted because it wasn't Black Ops 2. From a graphical standpoint, or I guess an aesthetic standpoint, Black Ops 2 was beautiful and vibrant. Ghost was pretty drab and not as attractive, and a lot of the maps were pretty garbage. Also, they were developing this game for 360, and then also this was the first Call of Duty for the next generation of systems, with the Xbox One and the PS4 launching in 2013 around the same time that Ghost did. So I think having to do that, obviously because of the technical limitations that Ghost and then all the other games that came on 360 afterwards, a lot of those were lesser products. They didn't have ground war and all. Thanks Sirens. I think I try to do this at night. Let's see what time it is. It's midnight, and here comes the sirens. There's always sirens. I'm sorry, guys. But no, Ghosts are just, yeah, they did a lot of things right, but it's just, I think people, you can't multiplayer, you just can't compare it to Black Ops 2. You just can't. As for campaign was solid, had a good twist. Jesus. It had a good twist, but I feel that the characters weren't as memorable or quippable as I like to quip Call of Duties a lot. I like to quip a lot of stuff, you know, I'm a quipper. But I don't think Ghost had any signature characters as far as Call of Duty goes. The campaign didn't really do anything for me. It was a solid campaign, pretty good campaign, but no, it just wasn't as good as any of the other previous campaigns. As for Extinction, was a pretty good mode. I felt like they had to patch it up a lot to really kind of make it what it is now. So it's kind of hard for me to evaluate it, as we went back to the older Call of Duties pretty quickly with Ghosts. We really didn't give Ghosts much of a chance, my group of friends at the time. But when you look at all the content Ghosts had, like Safeguard and the squad system, a lot of other stuff, it did a lot of things good, but it just, you know, it was very experimental. So we're gonna throw it in the B. I don't want to talk too much about one game. After Ghosts, sorry, all my things are messed up now. Advanced Warfare. I dug Advanced Warfare. I think the campaign was solid. It's a very solid. Also, this was the first Call of Duty of the advanced movement era. So you had the jetpacks, the double jumping, the boosting, the exo sliding. You had the exosuits, you know. And like Ghosts, a lot of good day one content, a lot of weapons in multiplayer, a lot of solid to good maps. No signature map to me. There's maps you might recognize, but can you tell me the name, or can you tell me any of them that have probably come back in, you know, recent CODs? Probably not. But campaign solid, multiplayer solid. It was just an all-around solid Call of Duty. The Exo Survival was pretty good, and the Exo Zombies was pretty good as well. But it was an all-right Call of Duty. It was a good game, solid package. But compared to everything else, it was just pretty standard. You know, I don't know. It's like it's there, it's good. I didn't hate it. But I don't know. I feel like some of the weapon balance, a lot of other stuff, you know, there's a lot of things I don't want to get into because I don't want to make these videos too long. But I'm gonna put you in the C. I like your Advanced Warfare, but I'm gonna put you in the C list. After that was Black Ops 3. Where is Black Ops 3? Oh, here it is. This looks like a 2 right here. Sorry, these are a little small. So Black Ops 3, I remember when I got it day one for 360. I didn't have next gen machines until a couple months later. Man, 360 didn't even have campaign. only had one player can do zombies, local, and then I barely touched multiplayer in Black Ops 3. I think I maybe played 10 games if I'm being generous. I might be I might be stretching that by saying I played 10 competitive multiplayer games of Black Ops 3. So what does that mean? Can't really give a good full opinion of it, but what I played was okay, and a lot of people seem to really like it. I know every time it's spoken about in videos, those sirens are unforgiving. I'm sorry. Every time I hear people talk about Black Ops 3, it's always good things with the multiplayer. As for campaign, this was probably the only game in which I think the campaign was bad. And to that point, we've always had good campaigns, so it's kind of a surprise that Treyarch fumbled that. But if you know, you know. Train go boom, haha. Zach, if you're watching, I know me and Zorky, we did the campaign together for Black Ops 3. That's the only reason I tolerated that campaign, was because it was co-op. If it wasn't co-op, I might not have ever played it. Because the first level, I don't know, it's just, the game, it left a lot to be desired. As for zombies, this is easily the best zombies. You know, I talked about that back in, what was it, chapter 12. Where I ranked that as the best zombies, so I'm not going to talk too much about it, but it was great. It still is the best zombies in terms of the content, the gameplay, innovation from its predecessors. It changed a lot. Like, I can't remember. I don't think a single system was unchanged from the previous games. It was fantastic. I really liked it. And if you, well, maybe not right now because every Call of Duty is being hacked to oblivion. But if you got some cash and you see Black Ops 3 on sale on PC, get it. Because it has Steam Workshop and all the modded zombies maps are awesome. They're awesome. I'm going to put this Call of Duty... Here's the thing. I didn't like the campaign. Indifferent on multiplayer. Multiplayer was... What I played of it was solid, but the zombies was great. I'm going to put this in the B. I'm going to put this in the B. I think it's there. Obviously, if the campaign was better, it would probably be an A, but the campaign was not good. After Black Ops 3, okay... And Infinite Warfare. I might be one of the few people who honestly defend Infinite Warfare. I know people weren't, this isn't one people wanted, but it probably has one of the best campaigns in the series. It's really, really fun. A lot of good characters. The space battles with the ships are fun. I guess the dogfighting is what we'll call it. The dogfighting was awesome. For a game that doesn't have stuff like that, it was really, really good. I thought it was a really good campaign. Multiplayer was alright. I played it for like maybe a month. Maybe. That might be generous. But I just wasn't feeling a lot of the exo stuff. All the other stuff was fine. The way you can kit your character was fine. Other than that, you know, the maps weren't really all that. Terminal was there, which was really cool. I just played Terminal 24/7 for the most part. I tried out some of the other maps eventually, but other than that, the multiplayer was serviceable. Zombies was a little... I didn't like the zombies that much. I felt like they tried to do way too much, which was a shame because on paper, I really want to like these zombies because of the way they have all the movie themes. You had Pam Grier and Elvira and Kevin Smith and all that stuff, so that was all real cool. But just, I felt like the maps were just... They made you try... Like, some of the simple things should have stayed simple, and if you wanted to do the goofy Easter egg that takes 4 hours, and go ahead, make stuff like that, but make some of the core stuff in zombies more, I guess, accessible is what I'm trying to say. Long story short, this is a C tier game. Call of Duty World War II. So we dropped the EXO stuff, we dropped the modern stuff, we go back to World War II where Call of Duty starts. Great campaign, very different because you had your character, you had a squad, so you had someone who could mark enemies, someone who would give you grenades, someone who would give you medkits, someone who would give you ammo, you know, so it was really cool. The health system was unique. It made the game, the campaign really stood out amongst all the other campaigns. Multiplayer, here's the thing, I like the sounds of Call of Duty World War II multiplayer. When I was playing the beta, I was like, the way the sounds were really felt good. Other than that, gameplay was alright. I didn't play much because I didn't have PlayStation Plus at the time. But from what I gathered though, like, I remember there was a lot of broken elements of the game. They did the requisitions and then they had the HQ. So there's points for doing a lot of things different, but sometimes in some cases it's best to just stick to the core fundamentals. Zombies was pretty good. It was not, you weren't going to be blown away. A lot of the maps I didn't really care about too much. They were all right. We'll talk about that in the zombies thing that I'm doing soon. But it was there, you know, and it was solid, not too forgettable. Or not too memorable. It was forgettable, I should say, you know, because I haven't gone back and played World War II Zombies. So I'm gonna throw this in the C. I'm gonna throw this in the C. The zombies are solid, campaign great, multiplayer so-so. Black Ops 4. So first Call of Duty since I think of all time to not have a traditional campaign. Instead, it had Blackout, which I know some of these tier lists will have the Warzone modes, or have the Warzone modes as separate games and COD Mobile and some of the mobile stuff. I'm glad. I just want to focus on the main titles today. But Black Ops 4, multiplayer, again, Treyarch, they always do things very different, but sometimes it's best to just stick to what works. They had kind of the Fog of War thing was unique, you know. The operators, the way it's kind of like a hero-based game, and the emphasis on damage done as opposed to getting kills was, you know, it was different. The manual healing different. It's just, I don't know. It's just I just prefer playing Call of Duty a little bit more traditionally when it comes to the multiplayer. So I felt like there was way too many gimmicks with the multiplayer. I respect that they wanted to do something different, but I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it. Zombies was actually, you know, I recently went back and played Zombies when I made my video for ranking every Call of Duty Zombies installment. Black Ops 4 Zombies was a lot better than I remember it being. Obviously, like I said, it didn't have the staying power, but it had some pretty good maps, and it had a pretty generous amount of Zombies content day one, which if we get one map for Zombies nowadays, we're kind of lucky with that. But this one had 4 if you had the Black Ops Pass. I didn't like that system, the Black Ops Pass system. As for Blackout, this was during the time where I swore against Battle Royale games. I still kind of don't like them, but Fortnite just does everything right. They're just like the exception, and Warzone right now is pretty garbage. But Blackout, I played it twice. It's Battle Royale. I hated it. So yeah, I'm gonna put this in the C. The Zombies carries it, but other than that, not, you know. I'm sorry. It's just not. Now you notice we don't have any F Call of Duties or any D Call of Duties. That's about to change. So after this, after Black Ops 4 was Modern Warfare 2019. To me, arguably the best campaign in the entire series, or at least I should say a top 5 at least. I dug the multiplayer. There's a lot of issues with multiplayer, but they've been fixed. But I really like the gunsmith system that they had. The main thing that holds this game back as a package was that special ops was terrible. I liked Warzone, I liked Verdansk, I liked doing modes like that, but the special ops was just terrible. And I swear the special ops was just there so that they had assets of Warzone in the base game, you know. Other than that, it's like they forgot about it. The multiplayer, the maps were they were very, very hit or miss. More skewing on the miss side. And I think the problem that existed with the map philosophy is that you had 6v6, 10v10, and a lot of maps were definitely designed with 10v10 in mind and not 6v6. When you play certain maps on certain modes with 10v10, they're fine, but 6v6, they're terrible. There was so much camping. But the multiplayer, to me, once they added this, patched up and added a lot of smaller maps, better maps for 6v6, especially when they brought back a lot of the classics, multiplayer was a lot better. And I really liked playing hardcore in this mode, in this game. I don't know what it is, I loved the hardcore. So special ops was garbage, campaign was fantastic, multiplayer, it feels like it depends. It was serviceable, but then it was made better. So I know a lot of these games don't have that benefit because, you know, updating games was extremely expensive back then. But I'm gonna put this in the B, because the multiplayer could have been a lot better day one, and then special ops was garbage. So yeah, moving on. After this, Black Ops Cold War. I already mentioned that this was the worst Call of Duty of all time, and it still stands today. We talked about the zombies, how it was solid but didn't have the maps, and then even when it, you know, after it did get the maps, they're all just basically reused multiplayer or campaign set pieces, which has no identity. There's no identity for zombies. The gameplay is fine, but the maps, it's all about the maps. And the maps weren't really it. I'm sorry. They did their job, but they just, you know, they weren't special like they were in the other game. I felt like there was these really unique locations. I get that they kind of want to have it grounded and kind of within like the same universe as everything else that's happening in the game, but no, I'm sorry. It just didn't work. Campaign was decent. No, campaign wasn't good. Here's the problem with campaign. You have each of the Black Ops games are based around this deep twist. And while the twist concept was really good, The way it was executed, not good, and that sank the whole game for me. Like, it just felt flat. Your character didn't talk. It didn't feel like, it felt like no matter what happens, your choices didn't really matter, especially because they have the story that exists within, you know, that continued from what was it, Warzone. So ultimately, your choices didn't matter. Multiplayer, not a lot of content. There's a lot of content missing with. I understand they crunched it during a pandemic and that Treyarch had to step in at some point to take over the game, but we don't know exactly when. But it was a mess. Lack of content, lack of good maps. Time to kill felt a little weird. The score streak system in that game was abysmal. Abysmal. I would get 5 or 6 kills just to get a UAV. Come on, it was terrible. Multiplayer was garbage, you know, and I think even since it's come, like, at least Modern Warfare fixed most of this. Cold the multiplayer after a few months, it was still not good to me. So I'm sorry, it's F. It's the worst Call of Duty. Vanguard, I might be biased because it's World War II and there's not really a lot of World War II, like premier World War II games that exist. So I might be biased. But I'm sorry, I love the campaign, even though I remember this YouTuber Ink Slasher, he was talking about how the campaign wasn't good, and when he explained it, it made sense to me because of the way it's structured. You know, it's supposed to be about this special unit put together, but you kind of only do one mission as the unit. All the rest of the missions are just basically background or character introduction stories or something like that. So when you put it like that, I was like, yeah, okay, I get that. Still, all the set pieces were awesome, and the story was good. All the characters were really good. Multiplayer, I loved it. It had 20 maps, or was it 20 or 16? I can't remember. I mean, it was one of those. All the maps were good. They might not be super memorable, minus Das House, but to me, I felt like all those maps were good. Now, weapon balancing, what can you do? There was some broken stuff, yes. The thing that holds this game back, though, zombies was garbage. It was terrible. I went back and tried Shino Numa. They didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know what they were doing this time around. I get they tried to do something different, but they fumbled it. You couldn't even pause. How can you have a game like that and you can't pause the zombies, man? After having server pause in Cold War, you don't even have single player pause in the next game. Make it make sense. But no, multiplayer was pretty solid. Like I said, not a bad map in my opinion. Campaign great, zombies meh. So we're gonna throw this in the C tier. And lastly, Modern Warfare 2. Special Ops was solid. I didn't play much of it, but what I did play was solid. I haven't done any of the raids. I haven't played the game honestly since December. I burnt myself out on that. I like a lot of Modern Warfare 2. I really do. There's some maps that are not good, and there's some things that I wish were different. Other than that, the game's multiplayer was really, I think it's one of the best multiplayers we've gotten. And I know there's a lot of discourse right now over Call of Duty, but the last time I played it, it was pretty solid. Now, I'm not going to count the Warzone too much as a part of this. I didn't do it for the original one. I'm not going to do it for this one because I feel like those are two separate entities, and plus they're not up here. So, but I feel like those are two separate entities. They just exist within the same program, if that makes sense. So I'm not going to hold the Warzone because I did not think Warzone was good. My big problem with Warzone, see, my voice is getting dry. I've been talking for like 20 minutes. But I think my problem with Warzone, I'm going to talk about it just very briefly. My problem with Warzone was that the time to kill was extremely short for a battle royale. You spend 20 minutes walking around looting, and then you just get erased without a chance to even like comprehend where you're getting shot from. In the first Warzone, I felt like there was a good competitive time to kill. When I play Fortnite, good competitive time to kill. Sometimes you do get erased, you know, when certain weapons, if there's a shotgun close or if there's a sniper from distance. Yes, there's certain things that can do that, but I felt like every weapon was doing that in any situation. You were just getting clapped, you know. The DMZ mode was just not it. I was really excited for it. It just wasn't it. I don't know what my expectations were, but they were not met there. Campaign though, probably if I had to rank the campaigns, this was easily a top 3 because every mission felt unique. Every mission, and the character dynamics were awesome. The story was good. Final mission was a little, now the stakes were high, but I felt like the way the mission was not in line with other last missions in Call of Duty where you do a lot of really cool stuff happening. So yeah, I'm sorry. But other than that, all the set pieces were amazing. This was a great Call of Duty. I understand right now it's in a bad spot. I haven't played it. I know people complain about a lot of things, but it seems like really just a lot of the streamers and the pros complain. So I never really take those opinions too seriously, because I think those guys are just out of touch in their babies. But I digress. But I'm gonna put this in the A category. I think everything was really good. The campaign was great, multiplayer great, special ops was really good for what little I played of it. But it's a really good Call of Duty. So there it is, guys. Every Call of Duty, every main title ranked. No D's, 1 F, and 3 NAs. Maybe I'll go back someday and play these older ones. Who knows? But other than that, yes, this is pretty much how I feel about each Call of Duty. A lot of these Call of Duties have things. Yes, tier. These are borderline perfect games. Great games with a few flaws. Solid games that, you know, had some weaknesses. And then these were games where it felt like what they give, they also took. So it's like, yeah, this is cool, but then this sucks. This is great, but this is whack. But generally, yeah, this is where I rank my Call of Duties, every Call of Duty. So let me know down below, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know where you would rank your Call of Duties. Inshallah, I will see you in the next chapter.